Guys, in this next news story, a gang who fraudulently claimed more than £2 million worth of funding during the pandemic have been jailed for nearly 50 years in total. This gang made bogus applications from small business grants, bounce back loans, the Eat Out to Help Out scheme, and self assessment payments following the outbreak of the pandemic in 2020. 12 men were convicted for their involvement, 10 of whom were sentenced at Birmingham Crown Court yesterday. Judge Roderick Henderson said this was a persistent and sophisticated fraud involving stealing large amounts of money from the community at the time of national emergency. So guys, just a couple of months ago, I was reading an article where the police were sort of like honing in on these individuals who took billions and billions and billions of pounds that was there for the support of people of the UK, and majority of these people were shipping the money out to other countries and making mansions and God knows what. But, it's going to come clear in the story as well in a second. The judge went on to say the urgency of the situation meant money was paid out with very few checks, and these defendants saw this and cashed in. They got greedy. So those convicted are as follows. You got Kirat Diaz. He admitted 2 counts of conspiracy to defraud and 2 counts of money laundering. He was from Birmingham and he's been sentenced to 7 years and 7 months. Ummer Yousaf, who's 40, of Birmingham, was found guilty 2 counts each of conspiracy to defraud and money laundering, as well as a charge of failing to comply with a RIPA notice. He was sentenced to 8 years. Sajid Hussain, who's 36, from Birmingham, admitted 2 counts of conspiracy to defraud and 1 count of money laundering. He was sentenced to 5 years. Mohammed, from Warsaw, admitted 2 counts of conspiracy to defraud and 1 count of money laundering. He was sentenced to 4 years and 9 months. Deen, who's from Birmingham, pleaded guilty to 2 counts of conspiracy to defraud and 1 count of money laundering. He was sentenced to 5 years and 3 months. Usaamah bin Taariq, from Birmingham, admitted 2 counts of conspiracy to defraud and 1 count of money laundering. He was sentenced to 4 years. Tassaddaq Hussain, from Bradford, admitted 1 count each of conspiracy to defraud and money laundering, and he was jailed for 4 years and 9 months. Imaan Hussain of Bradford, again, 2 counts of conspiracy to defraud and 1 count of money laundering. He got 4 years and 9 months. Naqeeb Shakurt, again, 2 counts of conspiracy to defraud and 1 count of money laundering. He was sentenced to 4 years and 9 months. Hussain from Bradford, he was sentenced to 2 years, suspended for 2 years. And you got a Zishan Ahmed and Harun Shezad. They're going to be sentenced at a later date. Just believe that Diaz and Yousaf were the leaders of the scheme. Yousaf was described as the gang's forger and the brains behind the money laundering operation. The rest of the men had varying degrees of involvement, including recruiting and directing, making fraudulent applications and laundering the illegal proceeds. All men, apart from Hussain, played a part in the fraud, whereas he was only convicted of money laundering. The group used more than 50 companies to apply for funding and then over 100 bank and cryptocurrency accounts to hide the money which was received. They operated from an office in Digbeth, with some of the illegally claimed cash used to take out lease agreements for VWs and Audis for the gang to swan around in, and most of the men made enough money to send it out of the country. They were either sending it to Dubai and then onwards from there into Pakistan, where they were making mansions for the family. The fraud was worth between 2.3 and £3 million, and the gang made 50 successful applications for small business loans. Mark Jackson, prosecuting on behalf of Birmingham City Council Trading Standard, says this was public money and the defendants set out to dishonestly take as much as they possibly could, then launder it outside the UK jurisdiction and outside the reach of UK authorities. Judge Henderson commended the council for the impressive, diligent and far-reaching investigation. Absolute madness, guys. And guys, in this next news story, 2 men have been sentenced to a total of 44 years for murdering a man and seriously injuring his brother. Shane Canavan and his half-brother Joshua Langley, both of Purley, was sentenced to life with a minimum of 23 years and 21 years in prison respectively for murdering 20-year-old Bradley Hutchins and seriously injuring his brother. They appeared at Woolwich Crown Court to be sentenced. At the same court back in July, they had both been found guilty of murder and wounding with intent. The court heard how police were called to reports of a group of men fighting with weapons in New Addington on the 12th of September 2023. Officers attended and heard that Bradley and Callum had been taken to a nearby ambulance station. They had both been stabbed multiple times. Bradley's injuries were so severe that despite the efforts of emergency services, he died a short time later. Officers worked meticulously to quickly identify the suspects, with Canavan arrested on the 16th of September and Langley arrested the following day. Detectives from the Met Specialist Crime Command built a case against the two, identifying where the offence had taken place and examining the crowbar, monkey wrench, knife and balaclava, which had all been left behind by those involved. They discovered that the motive for the violent attack was a fight the previous week where Canavan had come off second best. A combination of witness testimony, CCTV and forensic evidence would ultimately lead to Canavan and Langley's conviction. Detective Inspector Matt Reed from the Specialist Crime Command said, "We hope this sentence brings a level of peace and a feeling of justice to Bradley's family after the utter devastation they have suffered. We worked very hard to identify the suspects responsible for this very terrible attack and build a watertight investigation to get them put behind bars. I want to thank the witnesses who bravely came forward to help and offer our heartfelt wishes to Bradley's friends and family as they live on in his memory." Bradley's mother said, "Our whole world was turned upside down when Bradley was cruelly taken away from us. Bradley and his brother had a special bond. The effect on his brother of losing him has been utterly devastating. Bradley had such a presence when he walked into a room. He was always happy and known for his infectious smile. He was so kind and gentle, protective of his family and friends, and he hated injustice. He would always stand up for the truth. He said, I will ensure my son's name and memory lives on forever. I'll continue to fight against knife crime and try to help others in any way possible who have suffered the effects of this. I thank all who have helped me and believed in my son's good name. Bradley James Hutchins, our hero." As part of a new Met for London, tackling knife crime and violence is a top priority for the police, and the Met Police says they've got a duty to prevent crime and violence by providing diversions to those who need it most, and they will continue to use every tactic available to prevent people getting hurt and aiming to bring justice to those that are. So I've just put a little graph up here with regards to violent crimes in London, so you can see there were just over 250,000 violent crime offences recorded by the Met Police in the City of London Police in 2023 and 2024, which is an increase when compared with the previous reporting year. So from a low of 186,488 violent crimes in 2015 to 2016, it seems though that violent crime is increasing almost every single year, yet the Met Police are putting statements out there saying, we're doing this, that, the other, and we're making London safe, we're making the streets safer. But as you can see from this graph here, it's not getting safer, it's getting worse. And not only that, but I bet this pattern of increasing violent crime is probably replicated across the UK. Absolute madness, guys. What the hell is wrong with the justice system, with where we're living, with life in general? It's just crazy. Let me know what you think in the comments below. It's your boy GT. Keep it locked, keep it real.